Getting us ready for our election night coverage here on KTBS3. Steve Galatis with Stephen F. Austin University in Nacogdoches, providing some expert analysis into the big races. We greatly appreciate your time, Steve, as always. The big question we want to ask you right now in the Republican race, it has definitely turned vicious between Cornyn, Paxton, and Hunt. The big question, who's carrying some momentum into tonight?
To say it's probably Ken Paxton, the current Attorney General. He has, placed himself very strategically as a ardent Trump supporter. He has tried to paint incumbent John Cornyn as weakly supporting Trump. However, Cornyn himself has come back on the attack and defended his own record and his own relationship with Trump.
President Trump did not make an endorsement in the Republican primary for Senate. If there is a runoff, do you think he will endorse someone, and how do you think it would impact that candidate?
I expect him to make an endorsement if we go into a runoff, and the polling data is indicating we're probably headed there. Wesley Hunt is pulling enough voters to him that both Cornyn and Paxton will not cross the 50% threshold to secure the nomination tonight. I could be wrong on that, but that's what the polling data is looking like. And at that point, I do suspect that Trump will come out and endorse one of the candidates.
If that does happen,
and I think I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead,
I think the
Professor.
impact of that will be. I think the impact of that will be to, really fire up the Republican base in Texas and get them out to vote against what will be a formidable Democratic opponent.
With everything that's happening right now with regards to the economy, we're now entering into military operations against Iran. Gas prices are now up. Does that endorsement hurt that particular candidate?
I don't think so, because the Republican base in Texas, especially the hardcore Republican voters, are fully behind Trump, fully behind what is going on, are in full agreement with Trump, or in significant agreement with Trump on issues on the economy and in the war in Iraq. So I think that will shore up the base. The real question will be what happens to the middle of the road voters, to independent voters, to many of the Hispanic voters, especially in South Texas, that over the last 3 or 4 election cycles have been trending Republican. Will they continue there, or will that trend toward Republican voting, or will they return back to being Democratic voters in the general election?
So Democrats have turned out in really big numbers here in early voting, and so it's James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett. Do you think whoever comes out first tonight will be able to build on that momentum and keep it going?
I think that's the $1 million question for the evening and for, moving forward. Certainly Tallarico is trying to make inroads with disaffected Republican voters who are looking at what is going on and saying, I'm not sure this is what I voted for when I voted for Trump back in 2024. Again, Tallarico is trying to expand the base of the Democratic Party. Whether or not he can truly do that or not is an interesting question. Crockett has positioned herself very consistently with her past pattern of voting and her past record as being a progressive, as being a populist among the Republican Party, challenging and opposing Trump very heavily in his agenda.
All right. It will definitely be an interesting election night for those races, especially in Texas as well. Professor Galatis will be joining us throughout the night on KTBS for his expert analysis. We'll see you tonight for the news at 9 and 10 o'clock. Thank you, Professor.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.